The World Cup is exactly 48 days away, and the generation of footballers that I grew up with are going to be fighting one last time for the ultimate trophy. The generation with Messi and Ronaldo at the helm, along with many others. In the game of football, there's an unwritten rule that in order to get the GOAT status, you have to lift the World Cup trophy, and the likes of Messi and Ronaldo have failed to do so thus far. Now, at the end of their career, is it finally time for one of them to lift the ultimate trophy in football? Well, today we'll be answering that question. Can one of the two greatest players of the sport win the World Cup? And if yes, which of the two players wants it more? Now, in this video, we'll be answering those questions and more, but first of all, welcome to Third Win Sport. This video kicks off daily World Cup content covering the World Cup every day until the first kickoff. We'll discuss every team and every aspect of the World Cup prior to the first kickoff, so subscribe to join this journey, but today, let's take a look at Messi and Ronaldo. Now, I have facts, stats, and opinions on these two, but first, let's go through a little segment where we take a look at Ronaldo and Messi and their history in the World Cup. Let's start with Messi. Messi's first steps in a World Cup game were as a sub in the 75th minute against Serbia and Montenegro at the 2006 World Cup. He would go on to grab a goal and an assist before the end of the game. Maradona even said before the game that Messi would be his successor, and after all, Maradona has lifted that World Cup trophy. But in the 2006 World Cup, Messi's debut World Cup, Argentina advanced all the way up to the quarterfinals, where they were eliminated by Germany. Messi was not a big player at this World Cup, spending more time on the bench than on the pitch, but here he exceeded expectations. He was an up-and-comer. In 2010, Messi was no longer a small fish on the team. He was the star with a 10 on his back. He came to play, supporting his team tremendously. But in the end, it was labeled as a bit of a disappointment from the 22-year-old with no goals and 1 assist in 5 games. What fascinates me is that they met Mexico in the round of 16 just like in 2006 and won, and were eliminated once again by Germany in the quarterfinals, exactly like 4 years previous. What a coincidence. The next World Cup, 2014 in Brazil, Messi was 26 and most would say in his absolute prime. And this time, he took the World Cup by the neck. He almost single-handedly took Argentina through the group stages, scoring 4 goals in the 3 games. Once he reached the knockouts, it almost felt that Messi was forcing Argentina through, creating the chances they needed to reach the final. And unluckily, Germany was there. You know what that means. The third time Messi has been knocked out of the World Cup was again by Germany. You have to feel bad for him. There's a sense that he's never fully recovered emotionally after losing that final, but he was awarded Player of the Tournament. Most recently, in 2018, Messi came thinking perhaps this was his last World Cup. Similar situation to now. So how did they do? Messi once again dragged a slightly heavier Argentina through the group stages, but failed to beat Iceland, meaning they would meet France due to their second place placement in the group. But unfortunately, this marked an early exit for Argentina in the round of 16. But Messi fought with everything, creating 2 of the 3 goals in the 4-3 thriller. Messi has yet to score in the knockout stages of a World Cup. But now, with this good form and potentially improved team, 2022 feels exciting for Messi. More on that in a moment, but first, let's talk about Ronaldo. Ronaldo has a few years on his Argentinian counterpart. He was 21 when he first played in the World Cup in 2006, and expectations were perhaps slightly higher for him than they were for Messi, being a more established prodigy at the time. While Ronaldo was not the most important player for Portugal at the time, carrying the number 17 jersey, he proved himself at this World Cup, scoring goals and setting important penalties. Portugal made it all the way to the semi-finals, which to date is Ronaldo's best World Cup run with Portugal. 2010, similarly to Messi, Ronaldo had all the spotlight and expectations. He received the famous number 7 jersey from Luis Figo and he was the captain. Portugal managed to keep the net clean for the group stages here and won a game 7-0 to North Korea, where Ronaldo contributed as well. However, the 2010 World Cup winners would beat Portugal in the round of 16. There's a feeling that Portugal and Ronaldo didn't get going soon enough here. In 2014, Ronaldo ensured Portugal qualified for the World Cup, but unfortunately sustained an injury prior, which made the World Cup very difficult for him, and that made it very difficult to get out of the tough group. Ronaldo was also diagnosed with a knee condition called tendonitis, which has no cure. He was meant to rest the knee for 8 months, but he chose to fight through the pain. He has never recovered from this, and his playstyle has changed since, as he couldn't afford to play like he did prior. That's how much he wanted to play in the World Cup. 2018 perhaps marked the best Portuguese form in a long time, having just won the Euros. They played a remarkable game against Spain, one where Ronaldo scored a hat-trick, and they got out of the group, but sadly they lost to Uruguay in the round of 16. Heartbreaking for Ronaldo, who just couldn't carry his team. 2022, the team has evolved. Ronaldo will now have to worry less about carrying his team and more about fulfilling his goal-scoring role. Ronaldo, like Messi, has never scored in the knockout stages of the World Cup. Looking at this history, it makes me both happy and sad. It makes me sad that they've had such a hard journey through all these World Cups and that they've never achieved what they wanted, even with Messi being so close as being in the final or Ronaldo being in the semi-final. But I'm happy and appreciative that we get to see these two legends one last time. But let's move on with the video and find out, can they win the World Cup that one final time? This is when we get into those stats, facts, and opinions, so buckle in because there's quite a few. I think that undoubtedly, both Portugal and Argentina are capable of winning this World Cup because they are competing really at the highest level and have recently been winning international trophies. Last year, Argentina won their first Copa America in 28 years, earning Messi the first international trophy he's been missing all these years. And this year, Argentina took the CONMEBOL UEFA Cup of Champions trophy, beating Italy 3-0. We don't have to look too far back for Portugal either, as mentioned previously, they won the Euros back in 2016. But wow, that feels like yesterday, how time flies. How about this year? What is Portugal and Argentina looking like right now in their recent form? This year, Argentina have played 8 games, winning 7 and tying 1, so no losses. But the crazy bit is that if you look all the way back to 2019, that's when their last loss was. They have not lost a game in 35 games. The most recent games, which happened in September, soon before the World Cup, were 3-0 victories against both Jamaica and Honduras. This is just about the best form I've ever seen Argentina in. Portugal's form this year has been a little more varied, facing tougher opponents, but they have achieved what they needed to qualify for the World Cup. They won 5 games, drew 1, and lost 2. Portugal recently in September beat Czech Republic 4-0 and lost to Spain 1-0. Both teams are in good form, but Argentina is hard to miss with their numbers and recent trophies. But now, let's go back to talking about their heroes, Ronaldo and Messi. In the 9 games PSG have had so far, Messi has scored 5 goals this season and has assisted 9 goals. A real return to club form, not to mention that Messi is scoring like crazy for Argentina recently. 3 games ago, he scored all 5 goals against the Honduras win 5-0. Now, for Ronaldo, he's been getting benched fairly regularly as of late for Man U, not many goals there, and of the 16 goals Portugal scored this year, only 2 of them were from Ronaldo. Obviously there's more to the game than goals, but these numbers are somewhat worrying. So then, yes or no? Are one of these GOATs gonna get that final trophy to solidify their status? Well, first of all, they're both pretty much already GOATs. Other than that big trophy, they are number 1 and 4 on the leaderboards for most goals scored for their country, with Ronaldo being 1. But I do think, yes, that dream could become a reality this year. Argentina in particular are looking phenomenal, with form similar to what we saw from Italy in the last Euros, and Portugal are looking strong, but they are not necessarily strong because of Ronaldo, and actually I'm not even sure he even makes them much better from a technical standpoint right now, because he isn't really in form. What excites me most perhaps about this question of will they, won't they, is that it's possible for these two teams to meet in the final of the World Cup. Now, imagine that. Will they make it there? Well, I think they could, but I'll leave it for when I break down the groups and the nations further and make official predictions. But for now, I'll leave you with this question. In this year, will Ronaldo or Messi finally lift that World Cup trophy? Let me know.